Hello, everyone, and welcome to Alien Movement. This is Andrew Meadows, your host, and this is the maiden voyage of a new podcast that I'm going to be doing, talking about aliens, the existence of aliens, the ancient alien theory, the ancient alien movement, and I've been a believer for a very long time. I started probably as a lot of you did. I read Chariots of the Gods by Eric von Daniken. It changed my life. It opened my eyes. I saw the light, and I've been researching and learning ever since then. Ancient Aliens is my favorite show. Georgios Tsoukalos is my favorite celebrity. I'd love to meet him. David Childress, I'd love to meet him too. But anyway, welcome to the show. This is going to be I'm going to try to cover some things just to let you know about my thoughts and my beliefs and what I'm going to be talking about going forward. Just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. I have a website called www-alienmovement-org. I'm on Twitter at alienmovement1, the number 1, so at alienmovement1. I'm on Facebook at alienmovement.org, and I'm on Spreaker, as you know, because you're listening to me right now, probably on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/alienmovement. So let me get started with what is the movement. The movement is something that already exists, and I'm trying to build on that and increase the momentum. But the movement is a group of believers like me and like probably most of you, if not all of you, whose agenda is to push forth the ancient alien theory and the absolute recognition of the existence of intelligent life throughout the universe. And we want to bring that recognition into the mainstream consciousness. So first I'm going to talk about how we do this, and then I'm going to talk about why are we doing this. How do we do this? We need to be smart and stick to the facts. We need to focus on the things that are important. In order to bring more people into the fold, I believe we should pick our battles and talk about things we can actually prove. And I'm going to get into some of those things in a minute. But here's an example of something I don't think we should focus on. I was listening to another podcast, and the gentlemen were talking about a picture. It's a conspiracy theory thing. They're talking about a picture from the Mars rover, one of the Mars rovers. And if you look in the background, there appears to be a picture of a Bigfoot walking across the surface of Mars in the background. Now, I'm not saying there is or isn't a Bigfoot. I kind of do believe in Bigfoot on Earth. And I'm not saying there isn't a Bigfoot on Mars. But what I am saying is, to the mainstream non-believers, this kind of thing takes away so much credibility from us. It gives them fuel to laugh at us, to mock us. It doesn't help our cause. There are so many things we could talk about that are either fact or very strong backed theory, and then very strong beliefs, which I consider 1, 2, 3. There's fact, and then there's strong theory, and then there's strong belief. But Bigfoot walking on Mars is not helping our case. It's not bringing new people into the list of believers. And so I'm asking myself, why talk about Bigfoot on Mars when we can talk about things like the crash at Roswell, New Mexico, which actually happened? The Phoenix Lights, which actually happened. There were thousands of witnesses videotaping. Those are things that we can focus on, and many, believe me, I'm going to have a lot of things to talk about as we go forward. But those are the things I want to focus on. And, you know, as we get more mainstream, we can talk about other things. But right now, we're trying to accomplish a goal. And you're not accomplishing your goal if you're talking about way out there theories that most rational people are not going to believe. My screen just went black. Excuse me just a minute. This is just perfect. So what is the purpose of the movement. We talked about what is the movement, what is the purpose. Let me pull up my notes here. What we're looking for is not only mainstream acceptance, but full government disclosure. We all know that aliens have visited the Earth and that the world governments know this. They're probably in contact with aliens. They probably have, I'm sure 100% of my soul believes they have crashed ships in their possession. Well, more and more people are believing this. I know that a huge percentage of the world population, I think half or more, believe in the existence of aliens, and many of them believe that aliens have visited the Earth. We want to get to a tipping point where there are enough believers demanding the truth and enough evidence that these governments will finally acquiesce. The religious implications and mass panic are the reasons we're not given the truth. And there have been studies done. The Brookings Institute did a study saying this is going to cause mass panic. You've got to keep this a secret. But that report was released a long time ago. Even the Catholic Church has come out and said that if life is discovered on another planet, that shouldn't affect one's belief in God. So they probably know something. It could very well be that a government agency has gone to the Catholic Church and said, listen, we have this evidence, and the Catholic Church said, could you give us some time? Don't release this, please. Give us some time to prepare our followers, our flock. And I think that's very rational and reasonable that something like that has actually happened. And there may be a release date a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, who knows? But we want it sooner than that. We want it now. One of the things I want to talk about tonight is the staggering numbers. You hear all the time about the number of planets in the galaxy and the number of galaxies. And I just want to talk about these numbers more in a way. And maybe you as the listeners can go out there and share these numbers. Because when you share these numbers in this way, people are like, wow, I never knew that. I never thought of it that way. So let's just talk about our solar system. By the way, one of the things that I think has been a setback from the very beginning is that we call all the stars in the sky stars, and we call our sun a sun. So we completely differentiate our sun from the other trillions of suns around the universe. I really wish that we had never differentiated our sun in that way. We should have either called it a star or called all the stars in the universe a sun. Suns. So anyway, so let's talk about our solar system. I count Pluto as a planet, whether you do or not. Pluto is a looks like a big planet or small planet, and it has like 5 moons around it. I call it a planet. So counting our solar system, our sun is a star. So we have one star. There are 9 planets going around this star, and there are 146 moons around these planets with another 27 awaiting official confirmation. So that's 146, 56, 66, 70, counting the 9 planets, almost 180 planetoid objects just around our sun or star. So that is a staggering number. But let's just say that we're special and that all the other stars in the universe don't have 170, 180 planetoids in their system. They just have one. Okay? So forget the 180, which I believe there are many, but let's just say there's one. Our galaxy alone has 100 billion stars in it, or suns, 100 billion suns. Our closest neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy, has 1 trillion suns, or stars. So, in our observable universe, there are 100 billion galaxies. So think about 100 billion galaxies. that range in stars anywhere from, our galaxy has 100 billion, the Andromeda Galaxy has 1 trillion, and some may have 50 billion and some may have 2 trillion. But there are 100 billion galaxies. And let's just say that, I already said this, but the trillions of stars in the observable universe, or maybe trillion times 10, or whatever the number is, and each one has 1 planet, that's trillions and trillions of planets in the observable universe. Let's forget about the rest of it that we can't see. Just the observable universe. Trillions and trillions of planets. And let's say that 1% of them are in the Goldilocks zone. And 1% of those are rocky planets with liquid water. That's still hundreds of billions of habitable planets. Just do the math. I heard this probably on Ancient Aliens, but there are as many grains of sand on every beach on Earth as there are planets that we can see. Actually, it may even be, no, I don't think it's planets just in our galaxy, but think of if you took a teaspoon and you scooped up sand at the beach and you put just 1 teaspoon of sand out on a plate and you tried to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Think of how many grains of sand there would be in that 1 teaspoon of sand. And think about how long it would take you to count. And then think of each one of those as a planet. And then think that it's not just 1 teaspoon, it's every grain of sand on every beach on planet Earth. That's the number of planets that are out there. The numbers are absolutely staggering. And then let's talk about our solar system again. So we believe that Europa is a moon, it's either around Saturn or Neptune, is an ocean planet covered in a layer of ice. And it does have some type of thermal activity or volcanic activity down at the bottom of the ocean. So you all know what it looks like at the bottom of our oceans by those thermal vents. There could be creatures just like that on Europa. And then there's Enceladus, that circles the other planet I mentioned that's also an ocean planet. So right there is, including our planet, there's 3 planets in our solar system that have water, liquid water, and some type of energy source, whether it be solar radiation from the sun like we get, or some type of thermal or volcanic type. I believe one of the moons, it's the gravity of the large planet, I think it's Saturn, that squeezes the planet, which causes this internal friction and internal heating, which heaven only knows what we could find in these ocean worlds. And let's talk about Mars. There is liquid water on Mars. There is frozen water on Mars. There's tons of liquid and frozen water under the surface on Mars. There could very well be life. There probably is at least microbial life on Mars. And what I believe is that, and this is one of my beliefs, not fact or anything like that, but what I believe is that there could very well be like underground termite type creatures on Mars that are feeding in the soil, that are underground with access to water, that are probably blind, no eyesight, and we could very well find something like that. Mars has been around a long time, and people say there was never any civilization on Mars. But who's to say? Let's look at our Great Pyramids. Okay, they're 5,000 years old. You see what they look like now after 5,000 years, and we've been giving them upkeep as well. Okay, what about a civilization that was 50,000 years ago? What would that, if someone built pyramids on Mars 50,000 years ago and wind erosion and all those giant sandstorms, what would it look like today? It wouldn't look like anything. It would all be gone. So we don't really know. But I do believe that when Mars was Earth-like and had liquid water on the surface and lakes and oceans and was around for billions of years, I do believe that life formed, and depending how well it went, it very well could have been